Good morning, everyone. We are continuing here in the words of the Horowitz in the Sefer HaMitzvos HaKatzar, a new mitzvah again today. Samechet number 65. Mitzvahs Aseh, a positive commandment. Shebalabayis yaniach lapaya lecho mimashu oiseh. The balabayis, the owner of a field, let's say, has to allow the laborer to eat whatever he's working at. Bedover shegidulim min haaretz, when it's something that grows from the ground. So if you would be a farmer, and you'd have a field, and you have beautiful fruit trees that are growing there, or crops of different grains and vegetables and the like, and you have a laborer who's there on the field, so there's a mitzvah to allow him to eat from that which is growing at the time. Shenema, how do we know this? It says in the Torah, Ki savai beker re'echa ve'echalta. When you'll come into your fellow's vineyard, ve'echalta, and you'll eat. What does that mean? V'neman, it says further, Ki savai bekamas ve'echa, when you come into the standing grain of your friend, v'katafta, you'll pluck the ears, melilois, you'll pluck the ears of that grain, and you'll be able to eat. Umipi hashemua, and the chachamim, our sages, from the Torah Shabbat, the oral Torah, they teach us, this pasuk, this verse, or these verses are speaking about a pile, about a laborer, someone who's working. It doesn't mean that anyone can walk into the field of someone and start plucking away the ears of grain, or start taking the vegetables or the fruits that are there. It means that if you are a pile, you work the field, you're working for the owner, that's where you're going to have this permission to be able to take and to eat. You're allowed to eat the produce, whether it was plucked already or it's still mechuber, it's still attached. You want to now you want to detach it yourself. As long as he has not completed his work yet in the field, he's allowed to take. And perhaps by doing this particular labor over here, he's going to finish off the malach, he's going to finish off his work that has to be done. Maybe his job is to harvest. L'maiser oy lechala, and then it's going to be an obligation of maiser and chala, two things that we've spoken about, the tithes and the chalas that you have to give on grains and the like. Which means that what? That means that you are taking from here before the Gemar Malacha. I'm sorry, you're taking not before it finishes, v'lo le'acher Gemar Malacha, and not after it finishes, ela b'shas Gemar Malacha, rather at the time that you are finishing the job. So when you're removing it from the ground and it's the harvest, it's the time to get into the tithing, that's when you're allowed to take. When it's growing, you can't ruin the crops. When it's finished already, it's done. It's as if you remove from it. When you're in the process of finishing off that which needs to be done, so then you're going to be allowed to take it. And like returning a lost object to the owner, our sages taught, the payalim, the workers, are allowed to eat while they're walking from one furrow to another. And when they're returning from the gas, from the wine press, meaning even though they're not really working on it, they're still allowed to eat. Says the Gemara like this, and he's quoting the Gemara, and the Gemara means that since that when you're working for a person, you're on the clock and you have to make sure that you are doing your work. So if, in fact, you would not be allowed to eat from the fields while you're in the midst of finishing up the work over here, you're going to stop, you're going to go to the restaurant, you're going to eat, you're going to sit down, you're going to do what you have to do, and therefore you'll end up taking away from the time of the person that you're working for. And therefore the Torah gives us permission for these workers to go and take care of, eat while they're working, in order that they don't mavato, they don't waste the time of the employer. They can eat while they're working, and they should not be idle from their work. So that's the way that it works over here in the workforce. If you're guarding produce that's attached to the soil, you cannot eat it all. If you're a guard, you're just a guard. You're not doing any work. You're not a pile. You're not a laborer. And someone is a guardian over food that is already removed, is already detached, he also is not allowed to really eat. Ella, however, mihilchas medina, if you live in a place where they allow for the shomer, for the watchman, to eat the stuff that's already been pulled out of the ground, you'd be allowed to. This is halacha that we find everywhere for men and for women in Eretz Yisrael and Chutz La'aretz. Halacha of how to be a payel, how the labor and his employer work together in tandem. All the best.